It was Sunday, but the empire of sky was dominated by the soldiers of black clouds. They were marching, and the thunder of their shoes were as sweet as a live orchestra. Cold zephyr was cuddling the trees, and their demanding eyes were staring at the sky. Moon soon a season of life, moon soon a season of eyes. All of my siblings and mother and father were in the home. Breakfast is ready, come downstairs. I, my father, Saba, Aksa, and Samir sat at the dining table. There was a breakfast of juicy pieces of bread, chicken, and my favorite lassi. We did breakfast with great pleasure. Do you think the weather is too pleasant to go for a picnic, don't you? Father asked in his ebullient voice. We all jumped from over chairs. Really? We said all together. Papa, would you please allow me to call my friend Isa? Aksa requested. Papa accepted immediately. I think Saba, call her mother and father. We shall make fun together. Mother added. We took breakfast quickly, went upstairs into our rooms, and put on dresses, and gathered in the drawing room. All were there except Saba and Aksa. I think they are coating their faces. There was an innocent smile on Samir's face. Everything was ready, but the most important problem was not solved yet. Where to go? We all were looking at each other's faces. And finally, after a long discussion, it was decided to visit the river. It was about 11 a.m., and the door of my house was being knocked on. And Aksa opened it. He was Uncle Hamza with Aunt Naila and Isa. There were packets and bags in their hands that were fulfilled with chocolates, biscuits, and cola. Everyone was greeting each other. How are you? A musical voice touched me. Fine, and you? I whispered. Same to you. A smile emerged from her eyes that enriched her face. There was a pause. The silence of the deep ocean broke with the voice of my father, who called me to bring some fruits and food items from the market. Everyone was and everything was ready. And when we were about to leave, Uncle Hamza's voice stopped me. He wanted to me that I drive his car. It took half an hour to reach to the destination. It was a fantasy and was not less than a magical world. The spot was populated with tourists. There were slow-moving water, green mountains, and the gray sky. We could hardly park our cars. The scarf of Isa was flapping over my face. Isa was my neighbor and was a classmate of Aksa. She was a pretty, good-looking, and quick-witted girl. She shifted last year with her family. My family and her family had great relationships. Her room was in front of my room. I and she used to spend our evenings on the balconies. She was fond of music and I used to read novels. She was brilliant. We were not only neighbors but friends also. Winters were of great importance for both of us. We used to enjoy fog with a hot cup of tea. I reflect in her and she is ready to captivate me. It was no less than a dream to have a soul-refreshing drizzle. We headed toward the bank, but there was a rush of people. Somehow we managed to touch the water. I bent down, but someone threw a handful of water on my face. He was naughty Samir, and Aksa was also with him. I threw water on them. Saba and Isa also joined us, and we continued to do so. The loud whistle of the boat attracted our attention. Saba looked at Papa with her innocent and appealing eyes. Papa took it and we all ran and jumped inside the boat. We put on life jackets and sat on seats. But I saw Isa was still outside and Aunt Naila was insisting on her. As far as I know, she was afraid of water. I also tried to insist on her, and after a while, she was ready. But I could easily feel that her delicate body was melting like wax with fear. The whole boat was vibrating due to her trembling body. She gripped her father's hand so hard that he could feel the pain till today. My mother and Aunt Nyla arranged plates and glasses on the carpet, and Aksa, Saba and Isa were busy to serve the meal. Isa extended her arm to give me a plate. There was such a charm in her eye that I went back when I was purchasing ice cream in a restaurant. And she saw me through the window pane and she waved her hand to offer me to join her. She extended her arm to give me a cup of ice cream, and there was the same charm in her eyes. The food was very tasty. My mother got appreciation from all of us for her cooking. I opened the bags and gave them chocolates. It was the idea of Sair to play games. We had badminton, bat, ball, and football, but the wind was blowing so hard that it could push away the mountains. We were planning to climb the mountain, but it started raining cats and dogs. Everyone blossomed, and Nyla's flashed like a pink rose. We all ran toward the hotel and enjoyed the rain through the corridor. It was raining so hard that it looked like that God has allowed heaven's river to embrace its beloved on the earth. In harsh winter, sun with its healing rays emerging after a long, in the background of the drops falling from the snowy leaf is not as sweet as the first sip of tea with the musical sound of falling rain. Isa looked into my pluviophile eyes. Her pulchritudinous and pinkish white frock was wide over her legs, and her sandal was making rhythm on the floor. She raised her right eyebrow. Probably she was waiting for my response. To have a cup of tea means to have a sip of life. I put my elbows on the table. Finally, the rain had stopped and now we were ready to climb the hill. It is very adventurous, isn't it? Saba raised her head to see the peak. It was about 300 feet that we had climbed and it was right 4 o'clock. On reaching the highest point my throat became dry like a barren land, and we all attacked the shop of juice on the mountain peak. Sair, do you know why I like rivers to visit? I handed over a water bottle to him. How could I know? His mouth was full of water. I love nature and nature loves me. I live in nature and nature lives within me. I breathe in nature and nature inhales me. I am sure he could not understand a single word, as he just likes to play video games. The sun was ready to hide within the blanket of the river, therefore, we went down the hill. It was not Great Gable but Catherine slipped once again, but that time, Chips didn't find to run to save her, as Catherine herself fell upon Chips. And fortunately, Chips had a healthy ankle, therefore, he held Catherine's left arm with his young masculine grip. A life was in the arms of his life, and was fearful and was seeking light, to enlighten his life in the eyes of his life. There was a pause, a great long pause, as silent as the night, and as violent as a knife. I don't know who yet, but everyone came near to us. And I released her. And she grasped her mother into her arms. The sun was about to set and we all were on the old bridge, and I was leaning over the railing. I think you are thinking about something. A healing voice touched my soul. Nothing, I answered without looking at her. I know you are lying. She was staring at me. Look at the sun. I turned and responded to her. The lap of this golden water is waiting for the sun that he places his head in its lap, but the sun is extremely cruel. The train was passing through the bridge, and golden water was dancing in the music of the wheels. But there was such a deep silence that I could hear my heart which was as beating as it would never beat again. Sun is waiting to lose in golden water, but time is pedantic. I reflect in her and she shined with me. The sun was setting in her eyes. A cloudy day had then changed to starry heaven and the whole city lighted up with multicolor lights. The wet roads had then golden and we all were on Uncle's favorite point, Fish Point. Mama, 3 cats are ready to attack the fish. Samir's molars were visible. Moon appeared behind the clouds and its mesmerizing light had fainted the stars. Now we all were returning to the parking lot. Everyone greeted each other. But I don't know why I couldn't face Isa. I derived my car and I saw 2 moons in the back mirror of the car. One of the heavens and one of the earth. Both were eyeing me, or might be I was staring at them. Both were smiling. But there happened to be a curve in the straight path, and my Earth's moon disappeared. But heaven's one was still shining in my engagement ring.